Nice to have you aboard on this busy Wednesday afternoon. Hi, everybody. Yours truly, Christopher Russo, as we chat about what's going on. World of sports is concerned. First thing has been accomplished today, and then we're on the air. So we have that going. I brought Eddie up here specifically. We won't have that issue that we had yesterday with the funky machine and the illiterate computer expert. So that's the combination that kept us off for 40 minutes. And Steve Torrey, that was funny because I heard Steve in the middle of it trying to do it sports stuff. Steve so flat in response, me at top of my lungs screaming and yelling. What a mess. But we got on the air yesterday, thank God, a half hour late. Here we are today as we kick off the afternoon for you and have some fun. You and me now on a busy day. Lots to do. Eddie Erickson, Colin Schmeling, great SiriusXM 82. 888 Mad Dog 6. That's your two-way sports talk telephone number on this afternoon show. Lapis later on. He'll join us for his weekly segment with the college hoops. We gave him yesterday and Monday off so he can see the Elite Eight games and then get himself organized for what he saw the last 48 hours and, of course, getting ready for the Final Four. Steve's done a great job the month of March for us. And, of course, this is the last day of March on this 31st. And, of course, Steve Phillips today, we do the baseball. Great job, Darling, yesterday. Great job, Steve Stone, yesterday. Good job, Bill Plunkett, yesterday. In that 2.5-hour window, we did give you some baseball, so away we go. We'll get some college basketball in here right now and your phone calls here in this little bit. We'll have plenty of time for the phone calls. I didn't take any calls yesterday. I was angry. B, we lost a half hour. And C, we had 3 guests. Today, we'll give you money opportunity to call in and say what is on your mind as far as the sports are concerned. Let's start with Gonzaga, and then we'll get into the Michigan UCLA scenario first. I might even give you 2 breaks this first 20 minutes or so you can get more call volume between 3:30 and 4. First off, Gonzaga hasn't won a championship yet, so let's not go out there and start putting Gonzaga on this level of the greatest college basketball team of all time. I understand they have had double-digit leads throughout these first 4 games. I understand they've been a dominant team. They haven't broken a sweat. I also understand they buried USC, who had a nice tournament with a win against Kansas and, by 40 points and has, a legitimate NBA player in Mobley. So from that standpoint, we give Gonzaga a lot of credit. But we said before the tournament began that they got to win the whole thing. Final Fours are nice. They have already been to a Final Four. And for all his success in Spokane, it's about time that few won a title. And this is the year to do it based on, he's such an experienced team and all those things. So I'm not ready to eat crow yet. I'm going to have to maybe eat it next Tuesday. But I'm not quite ready to eat it yet. They look dominant. They look unbeatable. They should beat UCLA. Baylor, I was very annoyed about, and I didn't love what I saw out of the Bears a couple days ago against Arkansas with how they ran their offense in the second half. That's not going to do it against a good team like Gonzaga. So keep all that in mind, and it's right there for them. They've been a picture-perfect team, fun to watch, play a nice brand of basketball, pass the ball well. I mean, cut, sketch screens, a lot of backdoors. I mean, they don't take any bad shots. There's not a ton of one-on-one play. They play better defense than you think. They got size. I mean, I understand. I mean, Gonzaga right now looks to be a big-time thoroughbred kind of team. And, listen, they beat Norfolk State. All right, no big deal there. But, they took care of Creighton. They took care of Oklahoma. They took care of SC. I mean, they've been very – and the game yesterday was unwatchable in the second half. I got off it. Let me find a Crosby, Stills, and Nash Farm Aid thing with Neil Young. I got on YouTube. I got off it at halftime. That game was long gone. The gap in between games is an absolute waste of time. You got to wait an hour and a half for the second game to start. And I got to sit. I like Charles, but Barkley, Smith, and Andy Katz with Ernie Johnson for 96 minutes on the TNT in between stuff. I can't take that. And it's not just them. The Gumble, Wally, and it's not knocking any of these pre or post-game shows, but it's just too long to be recapping a game that was not a game and to preview a game that is forthcoming. And you got a 90-minute or an hour and you got an hour of time to do it. It's just too much, nothing to do. I mean, I can't. It drives you crazy. The calendar here on this tournament and how they televise drives you nuts. But again, I didn't watch the second half yesterday. I didn't get back to the UCLA game right into the tip at 10 o'clock. So essentially, with the first game starting at 7:10, I was off television from 8:20 to 9:57. I mean, that's took a long time to have something to watch in game number 2. But Gonzaga looks to be, listen, the kid Suggs is very, very good. Again, they play guys off the bench. They got the kid from Florida who's a good transfer, good player. few. Seems like he's got a good feel to it. I mean, they are a very, very, very good team. But let's be honest, the most eye-watching thing to watch last night in the game, and thank goodness he's okay, is Art Smith, the official. That really, really, that freaked me out, and I think it freaked everybody out. And then they showed you a highlight of it, and I'm assuming he probably stayed in the hospital overnight. I'm assuming he's okay, but boy, oh boy, oh boy. Did that make you think of John McSherry opening day with the Reds about 15 years ago or not? Oh, when he fell down behind home plate in the fifth inning of the opener. Oh, my goodness, that was in '96. Just a terrible, terrible sign for poor Art Smith. Hopefully he's okay. But that was the most eye-riveting thing, and I don't want to look at it that way, but that was really got what your attention. I was more concerned by him than I was about Gonzaga. But I have to see still Gonzaga win 2 more games. I make a long story short. And, the idea now that Gonzaga is one of these great all-time teams in college basketball, don't go there. Do yourself a favor, don't go there. And don't compare their unbeaten run to what Indiana did or what UCLA did or what North Carolina in '57 did. These teams played in conferences that were big-time conferences. I mean, they didn't play in the West Coast Conference. Indiana got through the Big Ten. UCLA is, listen, I understand back in 1964, the Pac-8 wasn't as it is now, but still UCLA, and they didn't have to play a million games in the tournament, but still UCLA had to play USC and Pete Newell and Cal and San Francisco. I mean, I played. Well, Newell had retired then, but you get the idea. I played some decent teams. I mean, the Gonzaga record now it's legit, but it's inflated based on the opposition. So let's keep that in mind when we hear about them being unbeaten here for the next 6-7 days. Well, look, they haven't lost a game. What a job! Blah blah blah. We're going to compare them to Kentucky, who lost to Wisconsin. We're going to compare them to obviously Knights Indiana team in '76. Take it easy. Take it. I mean, that conference is woeful, and they have a huge advantage of winning every game in that conference by double digits. They never have to break a sweat, and if they were in a real legit conference, they would have lost the game. I mean, they would not have a legit conference, and I'm not talking about a one bid conference. I'm talking about a legit, Pac-12, Big Ten, Power 5 conference. They would have lost a game or two. So because the travel, the teams are good. There's 9 Big Ten teams who ended up in the NCAA tournament. And if they had to play all those teams one time, maybe a couple of them twice, they would have lost a game or two. So let's remember that, too, with their unbeaten scenario. And listen, it's their tournament to win. And let's be honest. I mean, I would be very, very surprised. I know UCLA has done a wonderful job. Their tempo, we'll get to that game in a minute. But I would be very surprised if they lose to UCLA. And I think they'll play Baylor in a championship game. And I would be surprised if they lost to them, too. They're making it look easy. First to admit, they're making it look easy. But this is not our Cinders Bruins. All right, let's take it easy. All right, this is not Walton's. This is not the Walton gang in 72-73. That team would get mauled by this team. Matter of fact, when I did the podcast, we were going to end the podcast on the NCAA tournament with a Billy Packer cut when he talked about the teams today compared to the teams in yesteryear. And Billy was pretty forceful with the idea that, this is a joke. These teams today are just not as good. And the powers that be did not want us to air that cut. And I kind of agreed because they thought it was almost too much of a negative connotation on what the NCAA tournament has become compared to what it used to be. So we came up with a different ending to the podcast's quote than we did with the idea that Billy said, you know what, let's not, guys, fun teams, I get it, but to compare to any of these teams to the old teams is a waste of time. Well, we can do that on podcasts because it's a series, it's a little different feel. We're not going to do that on this show. I'll say it. Gonzaga is not a patch on Indiana's ass from 1975. Not a patch. We'll take a timeout. We continue. Mad Dog Unleashed.